Hey, everyone, good to be with you. Today, I would like to help you answer the question, when do I get to be enough? Done lots of coaching, and one of the most prevalent themes among most of my clients is the feeling I'm not enough. And that underlying feeling actually spills over into many different activities of life. I believe I don't have enough. I'm not doing enough. I don't know enough. And really, all forms of lack or insufficiency can be traced back to I'm not enough, the belief I'm not enough. If you knew that you are enough, then you would have enough, and you would do enough, and you would know enough, because everything you express in the outer world comes from who you are inside. Now, children are not born thinking they're not enough. Children are born with boldness and courage and confidence and unashamedness. And they walk around naked and they fall down and they laugh and they express their emotions. And they don't have any of these filters that we've learned growing up. One of my clients sent her son to the first day of kindergarten and he came home crying. What's the matter, honey? Well, the teacher passed out a coloring page with a picture of a clown. And I drew a green nose on the clown. And when the teacher came by and looked at it, she said, "Oh, that's all wrong." She said, "Everybody knows that clowns have red noses." Well, first day of school, the kid was invalidated. And that's not even the beginning. It starts even earlier when you pick up your parents' perceptions either verbally or energetically. And I've heard of parents who said just awful things to their kids. I wish you were never born. I wish you were a boy. I wish you were a girl. Why can't you get good grades like your big sister? You better go into the family profession, otherwise we'll disown you. And so from a very early age, we have been impressed with negative impressions of not enoughness. And then when you're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 and you feel like you're not enough in your marriage or your job, it's really just a reiteration of the fundamental sense of not enoughness. One of my clients is a very mature man. He's beyond retirement age, and he's also a very respected professional. He's a college professor. He sits on committees. He's written books. He's a very, very highly esteemed person in his profession. And he's still on the hamster wheel of, I have to do more. And even though he's in his 70s, he's still trying to prove himself to who? Well, to dead parents. And I said to him, you've done so many wonderful things in your life and contributed so much to your family and the community and the world that even if you've never did anything else good for the rest of your life, you're cool. You could just cruise if you want. He's just starting to get that now. He's starting to release himself from the eternal bondage of rolling that stone up a hill, otherwise, only to have it fall back on you. And a lot of us at any age still think there's more I have to do to prove myself. So take a moment now to think about with me, what do I still feel I have to do in order to become enough? Make more money, find a soulmate, have a family, be a better parent, contribute more to charity, work for world peace. Now, all those efforts are certainly laudable, not that you shouldn't do them, but why you do stuff is even more important than what you do. So when something you do proceeds from fear or lack, it cannot bear healthy fruit. You can't get an orange from an apple seed. So when you come from, if I do this, I'll become enough, it's not going to work because you're proceeding from not enoughness. If, on the other hand, you know I am enough and I do enough and I have enough, everything you do from enoughness will spawn beautiful fruit because you're coming from a true premise. Now, a lot of people enter into relationships believing that they're not enough, but the relationship will make them enough. That line from the movie "You Complete Me" really it's antithetical to how relationships work. Because if you know you're complete, you don't need the other person to complete you. If you believe the other person completes you, then they can incomplete you. So you're a yo-yo going up and down with their behavior, their validation or lack thereof, and you wonder, why isn't this relationship working? Well, it's not working because you don't think you're enough. On the other hand, when you could flip it and say, wait a minute, I don't need this person to approve of me. I don't need this person to do what I want them to do. And you recognize that right where you stand, you're a whole, magnificent, beautiful, perfect in spirit person. Well, that changes the whole dynamic because now you're proceeding from overflow instead of need. I think D.H. Lawrence is something like only the loveless go looking for love and they can never find it, but the loving always find love because they're coming from love. And the truth is that our nature is love. That you were born to be in love, you were born to love yourself, you're born to love others, you're born to recognize the love that others are giving you. So, what we're looking for today is the beginning of a life-changing paradigm shift that allows you to remember who you really are instead of who you were taught you are. Jesus said, be perfect even as your Father in heaven is perfect. He did not say, become perfect. He said that you are created in the image and likeness of a perfect God, and therefore your true nature is perfection. So come from that instead of striving to become something that you think you owe. Now, owingness is another form of lack. Anything you believe you owe the world, either monetarily or spiritually, is a twist on the truth that you're already solvent. One of my favorite affirmations is God doesn't owe, and neither do I. Now, you may owe some money on paper, but really, spiritually speaking, you don't owe. And the fact is that when you get that you don't owe spiritually, you tend to resolve your physical debts because the physical debt, the material debt, is a manifestation of a belief in spiritual debt. So we're biting off, we're biting off a big chunk today. We are poking at the fundamental sense of not enoughness that plagues so many people in so many ways, but can be resolved by sitting quietly and recognize your wholeness. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not sinful. You're not evil. All that stuff is just absolute garbage that we've learned from external sources. Now, what happened was after your parents or teacher or clergy or elder siblings, they imbued you with this belief that you're not enough. After a while, you started to believe it because kids are impressionable. They're like sponges. And so when your parents told you either verbally or energetically, maybe they didn't say it verbally, but their belief in their not enoughness got transmitted to you. So you ended up buying that dysfunctional program. So after you heard it enough, you started to believe it and you internalized that negative lacking voice and you believed it was your own. But it's not. It's an old dirty coat that you put on that doesn't fit you anymore. It's too small and smelly. And it's time to remove that cloak, that coat that's been hampering you for a lifetime. And this is why when you face a situation of believing you're not enough, whether it's a marriage or job or friendship or family interaction, that is your golden opportunity to practice rewiring your brain and choosing enoughness instead of lack. It's actually a very simple paradigm, but you need to practice it. It doesn't go away overnight. But with practice and intention, you can really flip that old not enoughness and actually become, I want to say a new person, but you're actually becoming the person you were before you learned to the contrary. Good stuff, isn't it? Before I want to close with a beautiful meditation, but before we do that, I do want to remind you of a program we have coming up soon. On November 21st, I'll be starting a 4-day at-home retreat with my dear friend Robert Holden. And we're going to be making that journey from fear to love, from lack to fullness, from doubt to wholeness. It's going to be a very deep, in-depth, highly interactive conversation. And so, if you're really ready to move from fear to love, I sincerely invite you to play with us. You can sign up on my website, alancohen.com, and there's a price break before November 9th. But you can also get a good price after that. So go to my website, sign up. We'd love to see you for those 4 days. Highly interactive. Okay, let's conclude with a very deep transformational meditation if you care to join me. If you're in a place where you can close your eyes and relax, please do. So let's take a breath together. This is what this whole time together has been leading to. So I'm going to say some words and I invite you to affirm them for yourself in your own mind. And more important than anything else, feel the energy, feel the vibration, because each of these sentences has a very powerful transformational vibration. So here we go. I am enough. Please repeat that to yourself and recognize that you are speaking words of truth now. You're not convincing yourself, you're remembering. I have enough. Speak to your subconscious. I do enough. And if you're really getting this, it's going to vibrate like a tuning fork. You go, oh yeah, I get this. I know enough. I'm not broken. I am not defective. I am not needy. There's nothing wrong with the real me. I am created in the image and likeness of a perfect God who sees me as perfect and loves me just as I am. And if you're doing this with me, you should be dropping in, dropping in, dropping in more and more to the deep knowing that what I'm saying is the absolute truth about you. I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to make anything happen. Right where I stand in absolute wholeness and perfection. Wow. This is what I've been needing to remember. This is the key to turning everything in my life around. And now, if there's anything else your inner being would like to remind you of, take a moment and listen. And I now affirm with you that God was in God's right mind when God created you as you are. Nothing to fix. Today we step into our absolute wholeness and we hold the vision of living from that in our relationships, our work, our health, everything we do. From this moment on, more and more, we come from fulfillment and overflow rather than need or any kind of lack. Thank you, Great Spirit, for bringing us together today in this high consciousness. My prayer and knowing is that each of us who listens and watches today is being touched and moved, that only blessings and miracles can come from this higher consciousness. And for this, we are deeply grateful. And if you care to say with me right where you are out loud, and so it is. As you're ready, open your eyes, take a breath, come back to your room. Continue if you like in this meditation, if you like. I thank you so much for joining me. This is really an exciting time together. I send you love. I bless you. I wish you well. We'll see you again soon. Take care.